Come on.
Okay, everybody, here we are. It's franchise or bust time. You know, it's as always coming at you pre-recorded to make sure we give you the best of what we have to say. And today we have a new guest, but before I get to him, as always, Katie is in the house with us. Katie, how's it going?
Was that good?
So excited. Always bringing the fire, always bringing the hype. Katie with us as always. Appreciate that. But then our main event, Charles Bonfiglio with Tint World, all the way coming to us from Boca Raton. Charles, how you doing, man?
Doing great. I'm great to be here.
Absolutely. So Tint World, anyone out there in the that has an interest in automotive and those type of things, I think this is going to be particularly interesting, but obviously just anyone in franchising. We're going to go over a little bit about Tint World, you guys as a model, the things that are exciting you for the future, etc. So Charles, if you could maybe just kick us off by, telling us who you are, what you do at Tint World, and then just maybe a little bit about your franchise.
Sure. Well, my name is Charles J. Bonfiglio. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I had a dream to go in the automotive business industry. And so I actually, at 21 years old, I took 2 suitcases and one-way ticket to Florida and set up to go open up a car stereo shop, aftermarket accessories. I really liked doing that when I was back home. And so when I came to Florida, I realized there was some things that weren't so easy, which was getting loans from the bank. Landlords didn't want to lease to you, young guy, they don't want startups. So I quickly learned that that wasn't going to be an easy way to go. And I looked into other automotive ways that I can get into business, and I found franchising. And so at that time, I started to look at a franchise, and I had a large franchise organization. I joined, I opened up my first store. That was Meineke Discount Mufflers. I opened up one, I wound up opening up another, and I wound up eventually starting to buy the properties and build my own buildings to lease to the franchises. Figured, why not own the property? And then I wound up going to a whole record of 10 stores. The 10 stores that I developed wanted to be very top players in that franchise space, and I got very friendly and involved with the franchise system on their various, meetings and board members, and so it was really interesting to learn how that grew. Sometime after the last store I opened for them was in 2001, and I ran that with some others for a while. And I just felt at that point I came down to Florida, and I was very successful at what I did, but I didn't come and do the one thing I wanted, which was going into the aftermarket accessory business. And there was really nothing else like what we've built here. There's a lot of mom and pop stores. They do a really good job, but there wasn't an easy way to get in. And I felt like after knowing franchising, there's got to be other people like me that wanted to go in that kind of a space that you just can't start it out. You have to have a system. So while I was down here all the years, there was one company down here called Tint World. They were mainly a tint shop. They grew to about 6 locations over the years at the time when I looked to buy them. And I brought my car there several times over the years, and it was kind of franchisey looking. They did a relatively good job. And my vision was, wow, this could be so much more, because I love the name, I love the concept, everything was good about it. So after all these years, I thought about it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go and approach the person and see if I can buy that company. So I went, I took him out to lunch, we made a deal, and I bought the business from the guy and converted it to a franchise. I bought the company in 2006. And by 2007, we launched a franchise, and immediately we took it from 6 locations that were company owned to 9 franchise locations. And then I just really went to work for the several years after that, building it, really making it better and broadening it, and really implementing all the things that I've learned in my prior franchise, but only in a different space. And so we really got computerized. We really worked on the website, the branding, the programs, and it really didn't matter to me. I just was really happy that I was building something that was for myself, that I could help other people do what I wanted to do. I mean, I wish there was a Tint World when I started out and came down here. I had a detour into mufflers. It wasn't bad. It was a good business. I did really well, but I didn't get what I wanted. So I had to build what I wanted so I can do it. And now my biggest joy is getting other people that love this business to come in and help them be successful a lot quicker than it was able for me, because I've done this. And so it's allowing me to build a team in our corporate office to help people grow real fast if they love this business like we do.
Very cool.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, something that I feel when we speak to franchisors, and especially which is I would say not all the time, certainly, but those who have kind of really started it, we're able to get to speak to someone who kind of like, yeah, I got the concept. I'm the one that grew it. I'm the one that started the franchise with it and started to really move it. You always have that one big thing in common, and that is true passion for the brand and passion for the product, and that kind of gets infectious as as you build your team and start to grow. But one other thing you mentioned that I think is interesting is where you started out. You started out as a multi-unit franchise owner, which is, in the franchise world is a very attractive thing to franchisors like yourself, is to have people who want to invest in and really grow into that multi-unit space. Is that a big part of kind of the Tint World, growth strategy, or how you interact with potential franchisees, is really putting out there that they could have this be a, a multi-location and, multi-unit type of business?
Well, we're growing that way now. We're really attracting some of the bigger players that want to have more because they see that it's doable. But to be able to get to that, first you have to have a single store success, where there's a little bit more hands-on from an owner. But as you can, mature your business model and you automate a lot of the process, take a lot of the heavy lifting off of the marketing and branding, and it's really like a turnkey solution. It allows the franchise owner to manage the things that are really more important, which is your customers and your staff. I mean, those are what really, you manage those people and they can run your business really well if you have really good systems in place. So like any small franchise, in the beginning, it wasn't everything I wanted to be, but I really worked hard on getting it to be, because I had the contrast of a 900 store chain, and I was on the technology committee for that chain. So I knew everything about what was going on. And there was a lot of things that they did that I really wanted from a franchisee's perspective, and thinking in the franchisor's perspective as well. But then there was some things, for whatever reason, they really just weren't interested in doing. I'm like, but you guys don't get it. You want everybody to be, you want all these franchises to be a top franchise, but you're making not be an important thing for you. And that is something that would be really important for them. And I know it. So I really saw both sides. And so when I was able to go into Tint World and build my own brand, I really wanted to build the things that I really wanted as a franchisee to automate. I mean, I didn't want my wife is awesome. Like, she's the back end of the business. Like, she overlooked the books and the finances and the payables. And I'm like the marketing, the sales, and the operations. So we did really good in building the development of the project. But she's all, you have to have that, that team. And but I saw, as I started automating the sales and the marketing and operations part of it with multiple stores, you still needed a key person doing the bookkeeping and the accounting work. And I just wished it, unfortunately, you have to have somebody you trust. It was my wife. So I always had the mindset of, we can automate this back end. You should not have to be doing that much accounting work. You shouldn't be tracking the inventory like that. You should be doing. So I really wanted to build that, as well as I built the front end with the marketing. And so we've really done that now. So now it allows people to come in and not have to worry about hiring a $60,000 a year bookkeeper to enter things into a P&L after they're into the point of sale. Everything syncs, and we have a third-party bookkeeping system that manages all that for them for a monthly fee. And it's all, they can do as much as the weekly payroll, the monthly payables, the sales tax reporting, and they just get a dashboard and they log in and they see everything and they approve all the payment structures. So by doing that, now you can own 5 or 10 of these things. You build compensation plans for your teams. You build a system that works. Your lead count to conversion with our marketing strategists. And so we just know how we can, funnel the work into the stores and getting them trained and growing. It allows an owner, once they get their right crew in there working, it allows them to grow and scale a little quicker. But that's, every franchise wants to beat to that level. And we're just lucky that I was able to build it in as young of a franchise as we are right now, because I had that 30-year plus background from the being involved in every aspect of that in my prior franchisor.
It sounds like, it sounds like you obviously learned quite a bit from being a multi-unit owner into what would make that successful and what would be helpful. And it seems like, and something that we touch on a lot here is the technology side, and and you're kind of, you're defining some of that with just processes, certainly, but what other ways are you guys leveraging, or have you leveraged technology to kind of the benefit of the franchisee who's coming in, who ultimately your success is going to be there. So as they get successful and they do really well, then the brand itself grows and you continue to grow. how else have you guys leveraged, technology to the benefit of the franchisees and ultimately then the brand itself?
So that is a great question because it really is important to me. And like I have this slogan that, marketing without technology doesn't work. So you need them to integrate together. But again, coming from a franchisee's perspective, I really wanted to focus on automating the business process from the franchisees. If I could do a really good job there, they would need me. It's almost like selfish. They would need me as the franchisor less if I have the system managing and measuring of what they're doing and feedback. So to me, I really focused on their point of sale system, their inventory management, their vendors, their national accounts, their all their CRM system, really automating it so it be very simple for them. Now, nothing simple, but it's process where they really know how to operate it. So that was one step. And it took me till I got to nearly 80 stores before I felt that system was good. And we're really destined to start promoting a lot more of these multi-stores because it's doable now. So now in 2019, I kind of got to the point where, you want something to be perfect, but I'm like, it's as perfect as a system I ever knew. And I've known a lot of systems out there by being in franchising. And so now it could always get better, but now it's time to share that with as many people as I can and leverage the growth. And so I had to shift and change my mindset of how to build the system to support the stores to how to build a system to sell and onboard and open franchises. And that was a whole nother level from what I was doing, because what I was doing for the first 8 years of building the business was working on that. And really, I had one sales guy, I had an 800 number. I would put very little marketing. I would trip on 5 or 10 stores a year just because we had a sexy brand, but they did well too, but I really wasn't focusing on the franchise dev. When I finally started to, I really put the right people in place. I started hiring the people. So I had a complete onboarder planning to go from onboarding about 10 people a year to 50 people. And then I have a real estate team that we got outside because I was picking the real estate myself. I knew what I liked and where I wanted to be, and I would be like a partner to them right up until the time they opened. But I realized that we needed more. We got really a lot of coverage. So we really got a good real estate partner. And then we have a really unique build out, a brand guideline build out. So we launched that in 2020, a brand new one, and we leverage all the products and colors and shapes of everything that we have. And so now we have a national account that actually does all the build outs for us. So from the real estate to the leases or buys to the build outs to the opening, then we have an opening planner. And usually about that time, they're coming to training. And then we're introducing them to the marketing department where they're planning their grand opening and pre-sale orders coming through before they even open up. And then from that point, we send a team down and we have an opening team. So we really built that process because I knew, how do I get them to be profitable in 3 to 6 months or better if I could. And so I wanted to optimize that experience because if I know that I can do that, I can open up as many of these. It's like the Ford assembly line. I just go the body, the chassis, the wheels, the tires, the engine, the tune-up, and it's off to the races. So I needed that runway to get it done and making sure that every piece was done. We perfected that. Believe it or not, we started this in 2020. We were ready to go. We had everything great. I beefed up my marketing. I signed all the broker networks. I have all my marketing pieces, my landing pages, my website, everything was ready. And as we start to market, we get hit with a pandemic. Yeah. That was around February. So the good news is we had a major convention for our franchise and almost everybody was there. So we went away like a stronger family knit group than ever. That allowed us to weather the storm while we figured it out with a lot of trust and really a lot of excitement about what we were doing. And we were lucky also, our business model got deemed as an essential business. So we never had to close a store. And quite frankly, with the heart and soul that we put into the business, in the first 6 months of the year, our stores actually increased in business by 30%. We just had a massive uptick. That led to some credibility from us during a tough time for everyone, by franchise brokers, where they're going to send their clients, from people that were exiting the different industries that they were, where they're going to put their money. They want to go with a business that's thriving in an issue, whether it's a down economy or a pandemic or what have you. We're a stable company. So we were really lucky in that sense, but we were lucky that we had our franchise convention, and we're lucky that we have a great franchise family that all pulled together and really made it go. And that really opened up a lot of eyes in our our 2020 year-end sales and growth and opening stores was so strong in our FDD that it got out, and basically we started to really do well. So in 2021, we awarded 68 franchises, which is probably more than we did in the 5 previous years, all in 1 year. And so that really, and we had 21 left over from during 2020, which was again another 2021 was 21 stores, and 2020 was 21 stores, and 2021 was 68 stores, and this year we're about 40 year to date. So we're really on a fast growth path, but it's like really working. The assembly line is working strong.
That's amazing. Congratulations. I think you really hit the nail on the head when it comes to, I mean, luck. We'd love to, say that luck plays a role, and sometimes maybe a little bit, but really luck is occurring because of the preparation, the process, and the planning that's taken place prior, and kind of what you described there, that, that propelled you through some dark times. Maybe talk a little bit then. So you got your process down, you've got your technology in place, you really understand that model and how to open new locations, et cetera. Now you're looking at scalability and growth, and really where you're going to go with that. And inside of all those things comes goals and goal setting, and where do I want to be, and how am I going to get there, and what's going to happen. You hear all the time, if you don't have a 5-year, or if you don't know what your next 5 years are going to look like, then they're never going to happen. Nothing's ever going to happen. You're never going to achieve anything. So talk about the role that plays inside of your business and your system, and how that passes from kind of like, hey, these are my goals, this is what we're going to do, this is how I'm going to move the company forward, all the way down the ladder to how, maybe even your franchise network is invigorated by that and really understands where the company's going.
So, yeah, I mean, we're always planning. I have a million ideas, and I have to separate the ones that are like wannabes, the ones that I really have to put into place. And so that's really important to me. And I prioritize that. Some people will not be able to distinguish that, and I really do. I have a vision, but I also know how to rein it in to focus and put tasks only on my people that I know they're capable of doing with a specific amount of time. And so by focusing on those things, we're always moving the needle. My goal in franchising is every quarter, my goal is to have some good momentum of what I've done and achieved, whether it's new or improved or added on. Something's got to be done where I can show we've had multiple things that quantified a result. And I do that every quarter because, as a franchisee, I remember I wanted to see, what are they doing for me lately? And quarterly is about good enough for them to be happy about these new things that have come down. A new marketing strategy, a new website update, a new whatever it may be, a new product category. I have so many things. So we've continued to plan for these, and we see these are ongoing things. So in 2020, when I planned for my growth, that 5-year plan that you talked about, my plan was to have 300 stores open by the end of 2025. And I felt that was aggressive, but doable. And I'm happy to say we have about 107 stores open as of today, and we have just about 100 stores in development. So I'd say I should be at double my store chains in the next 18 months. So that can get us to 200. By that time, I'll have 200 in development. So I would think that I can probably get this done by getting at least 300 stores open by 2025 organically, startup, no buyouts, as well as having about 200 left over. What's more is such fast growth with all these broker networks calling and trying to come in, and do you have 3 stores in this area? They have 1 in this area. That took time. So we actually signed up with Buxton Co. And so we actually took all the data of our 4 million plus customers and ran it through a data aggregating system that told us who's our ideal Mosaic customer. And that allowed us to populate where the best stores are going to be throughout the United States. So now we know how many, where, how, everything about what we need to do. So again, another automating that process. So I have it real time now where we're going, and we're filling in those gaps.
Buxton is such a great tool to use for scale and for growth, for sure, and really helping. When you're in the weeds and you've only got 50 locations, and it's all about Charles, and you're there every day, and you can kind of keep that together. But once you get into the hundreds, and once you get to that level, it's great that you're leveraging those outside resources to really help push you and propel you. Well, cool. So yeah, processes are down. You're on your way to hitting your goals, which is outstanding. You've mentioned the marketing piece a few times, which obviously for any business is key and really important. Maybe unpack, maybe unpack that just a little bit. How do you guys structure your marketing? Is it kind of from the franchisor down, and the franchisees don't really have to worry about it, or do they contribute to a national ad fund and you guys handle it, or are you merely just kind of maybe giving the franchisees an option for, here's a selection of vendors, pick one, and you guys run with it?
And so, yeah, that's a really important decision for a franchise company to make when they open up. If they're really a responsible company, they'll take on the heavy lifting of building the branding and building the marketing plan, because let's face it, an individual franchisee doesn't know what to do. Maybe 30 years ago when you put an ad in the newspaper and you're done. But in today's world, if you're not in the digital space, if you're not understanding analytics, design, conversion, A/B testing, retargeting, all these things, if you don't have someone doing that in the background while you're running businesses, then they're not going to maximize what they can be and be a leader in the space that they serve. So yes, we do have a marketing fund that every franchisee contributes to on a weekly basis. And we also give them the option to, on a monthly basis, add additional funds into that on their paid search from what we do for them. And they typically all do, because they know how many leads we're going to get them. We have a dashboard that when we do the marketing for them, they can log in and see real time where the lead come from, if it converted, what the cost was, if it went into the CRM, if they're a repeat customer, if they called or they put a form fill, if it came organic from the website. So all these things are mapped. And I want to give this to them because I think, if you take the franchise fee out of the way and they love the brand and what you're doing for them, there is a big thing that can get in the way. If you're taking advertising dollars for them, that's something either they spend on their own or you spend for them. So no matter how good you think you're doing, if they don't know, then how could you build trust? It's just saying, trust me, I'm doing a good job. And I had that with my former franchise. They didn't have, maybe it was partly the technology is today, but I have a login screen that every store has its own login, and they get an automated report at the end of the week, every week, that says them what we've done, what we've achieved with their funding and how much they have left in it. So by doing that, and again, a lot of these franchise companies like to just throw it to the TV airways, shotgun approach. But I would say, like, there is a portion of the budget that has to go for branding and, billboard type Facebook marketing. But then there's also the stuff that you want to do that's target marketing that converts. And if you're focused 80% on that for these franchises, they're going to really be happy because they know they're not going to be able to get a lead cheaper, a conversion cheaper, because they can see it. You don't have to be a genius to know this is how many more $20 do I add to get $300 tickets? It just comes to be a quantifiable number. So the idea is that we really have to do that part. And we also have in our franchise agreement, we highly suggest they spend up to 2% of their average revenues on their own marketing. And we give them ways to do that, and we measure them. And we have a 5-star measurement program that measures on a quarterly basis every single store to see what metrics they're meeting, the KPIs, the metrics, the visibility, the store, their engagement on social media, all different things that they do. We train them and we coach them and we measure it. And then every quarter, our operation teams are assigned to a certain amount of stores. They meet with each individual store they work with, and they give them a list of 5 items that they both agree with the franchisee that if they do these 5 items for the next quarter, that would be the biggest increase for their business. So we've increased same store sales every year since I took over the company and started franchising. And it's been anywhere from 37,000 to last year as the largest, $130,000 in average store sales growth. When you're already over your break even, that's a huge number for both sales and profit for the owners. It makes them real happy. You got happy franchise owners, you got validators, you got sales growth, you got franchise growth.
Hey, couldn't agree more. So you kind of been wrapping up here a little bit. Talk to me, since you've been in franchising for so long, and you, even though you look like a brash young man, we want to learn from your experience. How important is it to kind of be a part of like the greater franchise community that's out there, and being a part of IFAs or, different groups or whatever, or just having, mentors and friends who you can go to and talk to and say, hey, listen, I've been in franchising. Well, I think I'm doing this thing the right way, but what are you doing? And how's it going over here? And what do you do? Is that a part of kind of your strategy and what you do with your brand?
Well, when I started to work on the franchisor level for franchise development, franchise sales, that was instrumental because that's what they're doing. They're really growing brands. Whether you're dealing with a vendor, a supplier, a broker, referral agent, a marketing company, you're actually engaging to spend money to grow your company. But in the first 8 years, to me, it was like, I just want to grind. I don't want people calling me. I don't want to talk to them. I could read an article and get just as much out of it in 15 minutes than have all these times taken away from me. So like, to me, it was about being productive more so than having to learn for something I'm not ready for. I read, learn, and I listen to podcasts just like this. I hear people, I get little glimpses. I don't want to spend my bandwidth of time, just networking until I'm ready to utilize those tools. Now, in 2019, when I made that determination, I wanted to grow the brand with more units. I went to the 2020 franchise convention in Orlando, and I really spent every minute with everybody that I could. And I made friends with every franchise broker and everyone I could. I took my franchise team there. And so that allowed me to let them know who we are as a company, as a brand, where we are, and now why they're hearing from us now, and we're ready to grow. And so that allowed me to, make a lot of friends and connect on LinkedIn and, show a little bit of who we are. And that really went a long way. Because, you can give referral fees and commissions out to brokers all day long. It really doesn't matter unless they really love your brand and you're going to be good for their clients. And the more they know about you and who you are and how well you're doing, you're just another brand. So the idea was for me to let them know who we are, what we're about, how our culture is, not just me, but our whole team. We have a team of nearly 30 people running our franchise headquarters. 10 are out in the field and 20 are in the office. We're outgrowing the office. You can see we're building one on that. That's a new one that's under construction right now on that picture on the wall. We're building a really huge facility to grow to the next level. But it's a matter of building the team. And once they start to get to know us, they know their clients are going to be put in good hands. I mean, we went from selling franchises from the first contact to buying from 6 to 9 months. Now we're 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, from the first call to these discovery day is 4 to 6 weeks. The only thing that takes longer than that is if there's a little bit of time getting some loan approvals. Other than that, we're done. We're ready to go. And because we really have a streamlined process of knowing if they want to know if we're a good fit and we want to know if they're a good fit, if we can do that and they're excited, we're ready to get them going.
Outstanding. Successful business, successful franchising 101. Get your processes together, know your goals, leverage technology. Growth is coming your way. Charles, you're a perfect example of all that. We really appreciate you. Any final words you'd like to leave us with?
Not that I can think of. If you have any questions for me, I'm always willing to help other franchisors or other franchisees. I have a litany of people in my team that are happy to help. Whether it's like Tint World or some other business, been this my whole life. I love franchising. Look into it, find the brand you're passionate about, and take that roadmap and grow it.
Outstanding. Charles, been great to talk to you. Katie, as a pleasure as always.
I'm glad I could contribute. Thank you so much.
There we go.
Katie, come on. So you like the segment?
Dude, we loved it. I thought you did outstanding.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And each one of those kind of line items that we mentioned, they can kind of almost stand alone, if you will, for like clips, hey, technology, franchise development process, all that stuff is perfectly relevant, obviously, to the franchise world and what anyone who's going to listen to this, which is, it's not 100,000 people, but the people who are going to listen to it, that's what they care about. They want to know about franchising. They want to know about those things.
I did a franchise with a broker about 2 months ago. And just from doing that with him, I sold 3 franchises. One guy he came to Discovery Day. He came here from Israel. He's getting an E2 visa to come here to open our brand. He dreamed of opening up an auto center. He says, your story moved me. I called my wife. He's 55 years old. I want to come and open this thing. It was really cool. I love that. So it's a lot of fun. So,
hey, I hope that happens again. Believe me, I think that would be a really cool story. And maybe I'll see you in Vegas at the IFA coming up here in February.
Absolutely. It sounds great. And it's been a pleasure to meet you both, Trevor and Katie. Okay.
You too. Thank you, Charles.
Well, once again, it's been an amazing time. Charles, we appreciate you so much. Katie, it's been great. See you guys next time with the next Franchise or Bust. That's it.
Come on.